They are the best technology nature has for locking away carbon, and they are centres for biodiversity. Deal.
Gareth Davies.
To speak tonight in this debate as a representative of the Vale of Clwyd, which has a sizeable farming community and one that feels is not represented by this Welsh Labour government. The trust was lost last time around with the sustainable farming scheme, and I don't think it will be regained following this latest iteration. The sustainable farming scheme, a once-in-a-generation reform, is due to reshape Welsh agriculture for decades to come. Yet astonishingly, the Welsh Government has not announced they'll give the Senedd a final binding vote. That is not just undemocratic, it is an insult to every farmer, rural worker and citizen who values our countryside and its contribution to our nation. The Welsh Conservatives are calling today for a reasonable thing, a binding vote in this chamber on the final SFS proposals before they are rolled out. We also want to see an impact assessment on these plans. Farming is not merely an occupation for but for the very heartbeat of Welsh heritage, a living link to the ancestors who cultivated this land. Farming underpins Wales's economic and cultural fabric. Consider that in 2023, agriculture contributed over £1.2 billion to the Welsh economy, sustaining rural communities where the Welsh language and customs thrive. Many feel that the Labour Party, both in England and Wales, has declared a war on the rural communities. Despite not having an impact assessment, I think we can safely assume that this scheme will lead to job losses and loss of livestock, still endangering our food security. If the livelihoods were jeopardised in any other industry, there's not a chance the Labour Party would behave in this way. This latest version of the scheme still requires 10% for habitat management, and despite the 10% tree cover requirement being dropped, which is welcome, there is still a requirement to give up farmland for the planting of 250 trees by 2050, and that is just for the basics. Ironically, the Welsh Government's push for sustainability has made the industry less sustainable than ever. Farm incomes are already at crisis point. The average income across all farm types in Wales fell by 34% in 23-24, down to just £30,700, the second lowest in the UK. Contrast that with England at £45,300, and this is a time where costs have risen by 4%, driven by soaring input prices. But beyond the numbers, there is a deeper issue, and that's trust. A poll commissioned by CLA Cymru found that only 3% of farmers trust the Welsh Government. And then just last week, the First Minister dismissed the sector's concerns, saying farmers are well supported, and though financial support somehow disqualifies them from voicing any legitimate fears. This followed by her earlier dismissal of protests and comments from her colleagues suggesting we should stop subsidising agriculture altogether, in addition to the other things the Labour Party have said on this matter during the term of this Senedd, for which we have already heard. Others have called protesting farmers extremist and questioned whether TB-hit farms should exist at all. Quite frankly, that language of contempt towards our farmers by some in the Labour Party has been appalling, and the Welsh Government need to send a strong signal of support to the sector. But the support being offered is totally inadequate. The Welsh Government have allocated £238 million for the universal payments, which is the same as the current BPS. When the Labour Party has given inflation-busting pay rises, the money offered to support the agricultural sector stays the same. This says a lot about how the Labour Party feels about our farmers. The unions have said that £500 million... I'll take an intervention, Cabinet Secretary.
Can you hear what I'm saying?
I can't, unfortunately.
He can hear, but the people of Wales can't hear. So if you want to address them...
I'll give way to the Cabinet.
You're absolutely right. Let the people of Wales hear. Where's the Brexit dividend? Where, when you were standing alongside Conservative colleagues outside, saying that there would be a land of milk and honey and the money would flow into agriculture, where is it? Where is it?
What was all that money you sent back to the Treasury a few years ago? The ones that you didn't spend. How would that benefit farmers now? That would benefit farmers tenfold, and you know it will, would Cabinet Secretary. All of that money that was sent back to the Treasury, and your government was to blame for that. So you look at those farmers in the eye, Cabinet Secretary, and tell them that.
You're almost out of time, Gareth Davies. If you want to complete
I will.
your contribution.
I took a quite sizable intervention there. And for every £1 invested in farming, £9 is returned to the Welsh economy. That is value for money. That is worth defending. So I say bring the final scheme back here and let us as MSs vote on it. Because no government has the right to implement such transformative policy without proper democratic legitimacy from every part of Wales. Farmers deserve a voice, and this chamber deserves its voice.
Caroline Thomas.
Chloe. Farmers are good at organising community action and rallies.